But Johnny, let's move on into our second topic, and what we are looking at is DC. The thing I didn't mention at the beginning of the podcast.
You didn't.
We're going back to our roots.
Just another
sandwich. We're making the sandwich.
Another sandwich.
We're talking about Marvel, then we're going DC, then we'll talk Marvel again at the end of the show. But we're looking at Flashpoint, and according to Screen Rants, they have an article, Variety reports that Warner Brothers has hired Spider-Man Homecoming writers Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly to direct the Flash solo movie titled Flashpoint, based on a script from King Arthur's Joby Herald. I almost said Jacoby, but there's no C in there. Joby Herald, and with Ezra Miller reprising his role as Barry Allen, a.k.a. The Flash. I love this. Me as the DC side of this, that's why I'll just kick this one off and not pass it off to you. I love this I get people would be worried, like, but Ricky, they were writers. They never, they're coming from writing. They're not directing. They didn't direct Spider-Man Homecoming. Plus, you and I talked about the list of names in the past that they had to direct. We had directors coming from Back to the Future, big name titles, and it's like...
Even Affleck passed it off.
Exactly. And that's the thing where I can understand where people are worried, to where it's like, you had these big name directors that it was rumored that you were looking at, and you're going to go ahead and hire these guys? Like, I can get that. I understand your frustrations. However, with me, I'm looking at this as the one source of, look at Spider-Man Homecoming. Look at how fun that movie was. We were saying, hey, this is what Peter Parker is, and if there's any character in the DCEU that relates closely to the type of movie that Spider-Man Homecoming was, like in style with the humorous and the type of character that Spider-Man is, it's Barry Allen.
Exactly.
Like this is not a perfect hire, but a smart hire, I would say, by DC.
Well, yeah, exactly, because not only could they... they could dip their toe in the directing field, but now they can also, if they need to, they can rewrite some of the stuff. And they're already writers, so it's not like they can't do it. And they can give it more the flair of, oh, hey, well, this is what we thought about of having in Spider-Man. Because to write it, you have to kind of imagine it in your head. Yeah. And if it's not what you're imagining up there, I would think to direct it, if you're the writer, if not what you're imagining up there, you can say, no, that's not what I was expecting. And then you can describe what you were thinking.
6 months ago.
Yes.
Is when we talked about who should DC pick to direct the Flash movie.
Okay.
So it was in May, we were talking about what types of directors we should see when it comes to the Flashpoint movie. And I love this. Like, it is the thing that here's the thing that I not worry about it, but the only question that I have is, are they going to do any course correction when it comes to the Flash? Because I know that his opinion isn't end all be all, but Dave Oster here at Most Valuable Podcast, resident Flash fanboy, as I am going to call him, because how Batman is my hero, and how I would say Thor or Wolverine more so, but also Thor is your superhero. The Flash is Dave's. Dave is the Flash. He loves the Flash. He thought they did the Flash wrong. The character was totally off what it was supposed to. Didn't like how they portrayed the Flash. Now, I don't see them doing a complete course correct because Ezra Miller is coming back to reprise his role in the Flash. But I wonder if these two directors, who, like we said, also writers, are going to tweak some things along with Walter Hamada and Jeff Johns to tweak some things, because this is also a conversation that we had in the past, but it doesn't really play in here, is Walter Hamada named head of the DCU. Oh, why do you bring in a guy like Hamada? Oh, so he can talk to a big-time director, and they might take him a little seriously. Yeah, exactly. More so than a Jeff Johns. Not any disrespect to Jeff Johns, but he just doesn't have that useness to talk. He's not used to talking to big time directors, and I could see how directors will just say, "Get away from me, comic boy. I know what I'm doing." However, it doesn't work here because these aren't big name directors. No. So I would say these are directors that and because they're writers, they can relate, that even a Jeff Johns could come up to them and give them his notes, his input, and they could take it with good criticism.
Exactly. That would be great because Jeff Johns can say, hey, well, this is more of what the character's supposed to be about. Whereas they can go, okay, well, and they're trying to get the tone of Spider-Man Homecoming possibly to just say, hey, this is the tone we need because that's, as you put it, it's basically the DC's Spider-Man Homecoming. Except it's going to probably be a bit darker because it is more of a darker story in general. Seeing as it's him going back and completely fucking up the world. Yeah,
well, the whole thing of Flashpoint is he's trying, and we didn't really get into this in Justice League because we weren't going to. We saw his father.
Yeah.
But the whole thing of Flashpoint is I've got to go back and free my father. How do I do that? Save my mom.
Exactly.
And he saves his mom. However,
Ripple time ruins everything.
And I remember reading Flashpoint for the first time and seeing like him in the police department. Iris walks up and he's like, oh, here's my wife. Oh, no, not my wife. She's kissing someone else. Oh shit, they have kids. What's going on? And then, hi, Barry. Mom, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you here? What's going on? And then he goes to run and it's like,
can't.
Where's my speed? Where is it? And he doesn't have it.
Exactly.
Completely changes everything. So I'm curious to how they're going to do the Flashpoint in that sense too.
All I know is I really hope Jeffrey D. Morgan is
Thomas Wayne.
Yes.
Because like I'm even looking right now and I'm trying to find out like Zemeckis was one of the ones we talked about. Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Was a big name director that they were looking at for it. They also had I'm trying to look here. Chris Miller was in line for it. Phil Lord, I believe, if I'm looking at this article correctly from comicbook.com. However, we got who we got. We got these two. And I'm not really upset about it, mainly because, and I know I'm going back to it, mainly because of their work on Spider-Man Homecoming. And now my biggest question becomes, can we kind of fix everything? Like, is this going to be the fix that we need for the DCEU? Because let's be completely honest, when it's come to DC movies, DC's kind of screwed the pooch when it comes to their movies. Because let's be completely honest, Marvel did their thing. When Marvel came out with their thing, first they weren't thinking about a universe.
No.
They just released Iron Man, released the Hulk, and then we're like, oh shit, people like this stuff. It wasn't until Iron Man 2 when they were like
testing the waters.
This is going to be the universe. Well, it was like at the time Iron Man, people were like, who's going to be excited about Iron Man? Like, because that was back in the day of like, you had the Dark Knight trilogy was really big. Like 2008 was the Dark Knight, I believe.
I think so, around that time.
And before that, Batman Begins was big. You've had the Batman movies before it, although how campy they were with the Bat credit card and the Bat nips. However, no one had really...
Spider-Man movies had just come out recently.
But no one had dove into the Avengers or Thor or Captain America.
No, you're right. No one had... we had one Hulk movie a few years before that.
The Ang Lee Hulk, is that what you're referencing?
I am referencing
Hulk
it.
Movie.
I've accepted it happened.
Talk about a bad movie.
I've accepted it happened.
You give the Spider-Man movies crap, and then you bring up that.
Oh, I know it's crap. I will fully admit that Hulk movie was crap.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I've accepted it happened, just like Spider-Man. I've accepted they happened.
Oh, accept that they happened. That's a slap in the face to everyone who likes the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Oh, I'm mostly trying to slap you in the face verbally right now.
Back to my point, though. They weren't rushed into things.
No.
DC was behind the 8 ball, and what DC did was, and everyone knows this, of, oh shit, we got to catch Marvel.
We got to throw this stuff out there so we can catch up.
And they were doing it too quickly. They weren't thinking about anything. They tried this whole, we're going to be dark, and it's going to be different. And then everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, the first mistake...
Why'd you do that to Superman?
Exactly. The first mistake was, I get the, we're going to do a different take on Superman, but you got to realize that most people, when they look at Superman, is when he came out with in the comics, the American dream is Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is what he's all revolved around. Then there's the other people who see Superman as that he's not one of us at the core, but he identifies as one of us.
Exactly.
To where he identifies as I'm the kid that grew up in Kansas, and I'm Clark Kent, and I might be Superman to save some people. That's who I am, is that boy that grew up in Kansas, not the alien that came from Krypton.
Like, I get the part where they were trying to make him, to humanize him in a sense, but he's not Batman. We didn't need to make him dark and brooding.
You could humanize him.
Exactly.
By making him like Smallville.
Yeah.
Smallville humanized Superman, and everyone loves Smallville. Loves Smallville. But they go with the dark. Justice League, they try to course correct. This will be the true course correction, I think. And this will be the movie, like we said, to rechange everything. Okay, Flashpoint, we're resetting the timeline, basically.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, Batman v Superman just made it go, and then Wonder Woman shot it back up. And then you were only...
Well, Justice League was... I liked it. You liked it. However, there was a ton of people who didn't.
It also wasn't a Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and that movie had tons of problems with it, where Zack Snyder had to leave, Joss Whedon came in, Warner Brothers, I feel like, made Joss Whedon change a lot of stuff with it because they feel like, oh, there's a new director now, he'll want to change it, and it'll be easier to do that. You guys have heard me talk before. I am in the mindset that nothing against Zack Snyder, but I think him and the DC should just cut ties. Cut ties, walk their separate ways, because every Zack Snyder movie I've seen from DC I haven't liked. Like, Man of Steel was like, okay.
It was okay. It wasn't.
But that was only because it was like, I remember going to Dave in the theater, we saw it and going, it was okay. Let's see where they go from here. I was upset that there was no after credits scene. I was like, have they not learned anything from Marvel?
Yeah.
Give us something, anything.
That's the bad thing too, is when starting of the DCEU was Man of Steel, right? Starting of the MCU, we all know, is Iron Man.
Yeah.
How'd you feel when it came out of Iron Man? To me, it was like, holy shit, that was awesome.
Here's another thing that plays into this. I know this is off the point of the directors, but it plays into everything with what the Flashpoint movie could do. There were two opposites. I walked into Iron Man with no expectations. Like,
true.
I didn't walk in thinking, oh my God, I'm super hyped for Iron Man. I walked in going, it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
It's a superhero movie. I know who Iron Man is. Let's see what we got here. And then because the expectations were low, they were met and then some. Where Man of Steel,
there were expectations for you.
Well, there were because of two things. One, there was the base expectations because I'm a DC fanboy. But then there's also the expectations of, okay, I've seen what Marvel can do. I've seen what they can do to this point. What are you going to do? Oh my God, I wanted it to be right where those Marvel movies were, and it wasn't.
Honestly, all I was hoping for with Man of Steel, and yeah, I have like everyone has knowledge of who Superman should be, or almost everyone, what kind of character he should be. I was hoping to at least get like a decent like range close to when I saw the first Iron Man movie, because this was the start of the DCEU. I was hoping for that to be the, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This was an awesome Superman movie. They did everything right. No, they made him dark, brooding. He was debating like, am I really human? Am I like, do I really belong with these people?
I didn't like
Should
that.
I be Superman? It's like, what is wrong with you?
No, that's exactly it.
You are not Clark Kent. You're not Superman. You're not acting like him.
I'm trying to look here at the MCU.
It's a little weird that we had to kill him off to get that.
Yeah, it's don't get me started on that. However, here's what I want to do. I'm looking right now because Man of Steel came out 2013. So at that time we had Phase 1 was Iron Man 08, Hulk 08.
Yeah.
Then 2 years later we got Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers. So around the time that Man of Steel came out, let's see. Let's go per date. Let's go exactly at that point.
Okay.
It came out June 10th of 2013.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Here in the States, I believe. No, June 14th here in the States. Whereas Iron Man 3, which was the first of Phase 3, that came out in April. So by the time Man of Steel came out, we would have had, let's see, Thor's the only one that came out in 2008 or 2013 as well. Let's see if it came out before or after. Came out after. It came out in October. So up until that point, when Man of Steel came out, here's the list of Marvel movies we had seen. Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
So we've seen 3 Iron Man movies. I know Iron Man 3 wasn't the greatest. I didn't like it. But we've seen 2 Iron Mans, a Hulk, a Thor, a Cap, and an Avengers movie before Man of Steel. So the expectations were higher just because of that alone, because of where we were on the Marvel hype train already.
I agree with that, but like I was like hoping we didn't even. No offense, we didn't even get close to that with Man of Steel, just because.
No.
Overall, just wrong tonality.
No, and that's it, and that's why bringing us back to the Flashpoint.
Yes,
That's why I love what they're doing with these directors, because I feel like, looking back, hindsight, retrospect, however you want to say it, I feel like the main thing was we need to catch up with Marvel. We rush into it. Also naming a bunch of movies. Like naming, oh, we're going to do this and this and that and this and that and this and this and that and this and that. All right, execute on one of them.
Yeah.
So far, really the only one they've truly executed on was Wonder Woman. I mean, Justice League was good, but I also take into the grain of salt that there was so many problems with that movie behind the scenes.
Yeah.
With the 2 directors and every drama that you had with that movie. But I like what they're doing here, because I felt like, also looking back, that it was more like, we need a director that can sell this thing. Zack Snyder, come and direct it, because you're also going to produce it as well.
Yeah.
Because we need to get this thing out there. We need to get this. We need to compete with Marvel. That was the mistake. We need to compete with Marvel. And I'm not saying that's how Zack Snyder got the job, but also directing and producing might have helped out in that sense.
Yeah.
Might have helped out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can correct what's going on with DC now. And I mean, not like all of them were terrible, but like when you have Wonder Woman's at your peak, and like even Justice League, where it was a team movie, you would think would have been better, but it wasn't.
Thank you for not. When you have Wonder Woman as your peak and Batman v Superman as your valley, as your low point.
I mean, I don't think I have to mention anymore.
It's like more down here.
I don't think
it's continuing to go. My hand can't go that low.
I think Ricky thinks that just Batman v Superman was
floor.
Was Marianas Trench.
Through the floor.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
huh?
through the floor.
I mean,
through the floor, keep going all the way to the Earth's core.
Marianas Trench.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just. I keep iterating.
I know
how much I hate that movie.
Yeah, no, I was saying like Justice League, that a team movie, which I always thought would like bring it up, actually went kind of like back down
a little bit from Wonder Woman. Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything. Just to iterate, I'm not saying anything against Wonder Woman. I'm just saying that like
I can't wait for Wonder Woman too.
Exactly. I always thought team movies would bring it up, but that's from the having
Avengers.
2 Avengers movies.
Here's the last thing I want to ask before we move on.
Yes.
Is Wonder Woman was kind of like the Captain America of the DCU, in the sense of like Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah,
we're going back in time. Doesn't have anything to do.
It's like
Wonder
in that
Woman
sense,
was the same thing, where it was like, hey, we've dealt with this story, but we're not dealing with that. We see one thing at the beginning. Everything's in the past when it comes to this movie.
Okay, I agree with it like that.
I think that kind of helped the movie out. Like not it didn't make it like that's the only reason why it was great. It was great because of many things, but I think that also helped it because they can say, you know what, we don't have to deal with anything with BVS. You can just go in the past and do your thing.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from you?
No, I think we've covered everything. The only thing, now that you put that correlation out there, I'm wondering, like, well, now what Marvel movie made this, like, kind of resemble, besides Spider-Man Homecoming? Like, you went with, I almost said season 1, phase 1 of Marvel. What phase 1 Marvel movie is Flashpoint then?
I would say it would be none of the phase 1.
I know.
I would say that if Flashpoint, if we're going to move it over, it's going to be, I'm going to say Spider-Man Homecoming mixed in with some concepts of Avengers 4.
Okay.
Only because of the story. It's going to be Spider-Man Homecoming with a little time travel kind of spewed into there, because Flashpoint, you have to have time travel because he goes back in time to save his mom, and then that alternates the universes. Maybe we get multiverses because of this, and we get to see the multiverses for DC get created with this film.
True.
This is where you guys come in, though. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like the director choice for Flashpoint? Would you have made a different choice? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.